All right. Welcome back to Brap Grocery. So you'll notice that things are a little bit more completed. It was because I was stupid and I started recording another episode, and apparently in between episodes I muted my mic and forgot to unmute it. So I started recording, and yeah, there was no microphone the whole time. I feel really stupid. But hey, you know what? It happens. I was going on a rant the whole time. That's what I felt this most stupid about. Like I was ranting the whole time and it didn't record any of it. Well, I call it ranting, but I'm kind of just talking about stuff. I'm gonna make sure that my prices are still above market. But yeah, I was talking, and I'll go over it uh in this episode, some of the stuff that I want to go over. Um, I bought floor tiles, didn't I? Yes, I did. Um, let's see. I didn't have enough money for the fridge last time, but I think I do this time. I'm gonna add that to cart and then get me some yogurt. And I need to quit doing that because it messes me up. Yeah, I should have enough to get 4. And purchase. Um, so I was ranting about football. Um, I started out with uh I haven't watched football in a long time. Really pretty much since they made the rule change with kick returns, made the game less exciting. Um, so yeah, I've probably haven't watched in hmm, hmm, probably over a decade, to be honest. But lately, I don't know, like the company that I work for, people are doing fantasy football leagues, which I didn't get into because I don't know anybody who's playing right now. Probably the only one that I saw a story about yesterday that one of the last people that I've paid attention to in football that I honestly didn't even know he was still playing because he was really explosive in college, and I loved watching him play in college. I mean, he was awesome. And then he went to the pros, and I watched this was like kind of near the end of when I was watching, so I didn't watch much of him. He didn't really do anything, so I don't think he had much of a career, and I was kind of surprised that he was still playing. But apparently, Jadeveon Clowney got picked up by the Cowboys. I loved watching. I thought he was one of the most. He probably at the time. I think he was the most explosive defensive player in college football. He was excellent. Loved the way he played. It was so entertaining to watch him play. And then he didn't do much, and it was kind of it was disappointing. It was a little bit depressing, but you move on. Um, man, I'm not even gonna have enough yogurt to fill this fridge, but that's okay. And I'm gonna have to make this a bit of a short episode because I've got to go to work here in a little bit. Um, um, but yeah, he got picked up by the Cowboys. But um, so I was watching a little bit of pro football yesterday, and it was man. I meant to look this up before I started because I forgot. I couldn't remember who was playing last night because, in all honesty, it was so boring. It was the Vikings were playing the Falcons. That's who it was. And I stopped watching because, like I said, it wasn't entertaining. And in all honesty, I've never been a fan of either team, so I really kind of didn't care. And um I don't have any services that have a lot of football on them. I was basically just watching from I think it was on Amazon is where I was watching. Um these look like pills in a bag. I don't know if that's a good thing to be selling at my grocery store. I'm gonna go ahead and open up so we can get this day started. Um, but yeah, it was the Vikings and the Falcons. Didn't really care much, so I watched for like maybe probably not even half an hour before I stopped watching. But I noticed like there was a dude who was wearing big old fancy diamond looking necklace. And it's like, man, these are the kinds of athletes who go broke after they retire from playing football because they don't spend their money wisely when they're playing. And it's like, you wish that these guys, like, here's my tip for any professional athlete. If your main goal is to become a professional athlete and make that kind of money, do yourself a favor while you're in college and pick up some classes on basically economics classes and accounting classes and stuff like that. Learn to spend your money wisely because it's not always going to be there. Um, I believe, and I was talking about, I believe it was, let me look this up real quick because I'm pretty sure it was Steve McNair who was murdered by his girlfriend. And if I remember right, he was broke. And I mean, he was tip top, you know? Yeah, it was Steve McNair. If I remember right, Steve McNair was broke when he died, living in some apartment, you know? And oh, sure. Um you don't want to be like that. You don't want to be broke after you retire. Okay, I bought an extra. Do I have any? Is that box empty? Yeah, it's empty. You don't want to be broke when you retire, okay? Um and if you take these classes, um I would say you are more likely to figure out if somebody's ripping you off. Okay? Um because it does happen. Let's just face it, it does happen. Athletes get ripped off, really it's not even just athletes, like celebrities in general, a lot of them get ripped off by their agents, their accountants and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to be that that person, you know. Um learn to spend your money wisely, learn to invest your money. Um, I would say, and I don't even know what his like worth is or anything like that, but look at Shaq, man. Shaq has a lot of investments. And I think if he decided to quit working tomorrow, he still wouldn't be broke because he's got so many investments. And I would say that he is a good example of how you should try to be as an athlete. Like make as many of investments and stuff as you can because that money isn't always going to be there. Um yeah, you don't want to end up broke. But the main topic that I wanted to talk about was college football. I was watching college football this weekend. I was watching because I don't like I said I don't have a whole lot of like football channels. I was just watching one that was on Peacock and I guess they do Big Ten. It was Notre Dame versus A&M. Okay, I don't really like either team, but I like A&M. less, or no, I like A&M more than I like Notre Dame, okay? Um, and it's not even really like, so here's the thing. I don't like A&M mainly because people that were in my life that I didn't like liked A&M. So I kind of just became an A&M hater out of spite, you could say. Terrible thing, but that's, hey, you know what? That's who I am, and I accept it. It's not like I said. It's not like that. I hate A&M. Would say I had less respect for A&M when Johnny Manziel was playing than at any other time. Um, I don't think that Johnny Manziel deserved the Heisman Trophy the year that he won it. In fact, I would say at that time there was a quarterback who was playing for Kansas who was way more impressive than Johnny Manziel. He didn't have the team. Um, he basically carried his team. I hate to say it, but he did. And I definitely think that he was more deserving of the Heisman Trophy than Johnny Manziel. Um, so yeah, I kind of lost respect for the Aggies. I kind of lost respect for college football in general at that point in time. Um, so I ended up not watching anymore. And I hadn't watched for like, probably over a decade to be honest. Maybe not that much, but it seems like a decade. Um, but yeah, I quit watching. Um, and so I was watching last or Saturday night, and I was watching, and it was a great game. Uh, One thing that I will say, sadly, is that I wasn't super impressed with either team. Um, and the reason I say that is because um so Notre Dame had a quarterback that was a redshirt freshman. And I will say any redshirt fresh, it's impressive anybody can come out of high school and start for a college football team. It's impressive in and of itself, okay? Um I just wasn't impressed with his decision making. I didn't understand why Notre Dame at 0-1 was still in the top 10. Of course, I believe there was a lot of upsets in week 1 and probably week 2. I know there was upsets this weekend. South Carolina and Clemson both lost to unranked teams. Um, so there's a lot of going on, but I don't believe that Notre Dame at 0-1 should have been in the top 10. But regardless of that, it was a great game. I will say another thing. If Texas A&M is looking to build their program on the quarterback that they have, um, they should probably not. Um, Market price is $2. $2.75 is not that expensive. Maybe I'll drop it to $2.50. Um, but yeah, if they're looking to build their program off of that kid, they're screwed because from what I saw, he was not impressive and did not make great decisions. Um, and I think that they would be making a huge mistake. Um, I believe his passing percentage was under 50% because the last I saw was late in the fourth quarter and it was 50%. at that time. Let's see. I need some more of this as well. Um, so yeah, oh, let's go ahead and purchase and get open because he's running out of steam here. Um, there were passes that he should have made easily, and he didn't. It was just terrible. Um, I only got to see the backup quarterback for one play because the starter got hurt, went out for one play, and then came right back out. It was kind of stupid. Um, but yeah, I don't think he made good decisions pretty much for a good chunk of the game. And there were passes that he should have easily made completions, but he overthrew his receiver. Um, it just wasn't good. Um, A&M definitely needs to work on their defense. Their defense was just, in all honesty, sloppy. Um, they pretty much had no pass rush. How do I get? Uh, no. Um, they had pretty much no pass rush. I feel like the whole game they didn't put any pressure on Notre Dame's quarterback. Um, so and it's weird because last time I watched, Notre Dame was like one of the top teams, and I could have sworn like not that long ago they were like number one, but maybe it was a long time ago. Like I said, I hadn't watched in a while. Um, Professional. I usually don't get phone calls, so if you heard that, that was a mistake on my end because I usually don't get phone calls. So, but yeah, Notre Dame, definitely had the better defense, but couldn't just couldn't make the plays to make the stop or to. And I will say it probably like the only reason A&M won was for two reasons. Right before the half, Notre Dame threw an interception. Okay. Which is funny because right as I was talking to myself at that time, and I was like, man, A&M needs a big play on defense to turn this around or they're not going to win because at that point they were really struggling just to keep up with Notre Dame. Um and right as I said literally right as I said that to myself, Notre Dame threw a pick. Which is another reason why I say like Notre Dame's quarterback was not super impressive either, but I understand he's a freshman. I don't think they ever talked about A&M's quarterback Reed, I think his name was. I'm pretty sure they did say that he was the quarterback last year for them, so I'm guessing that he's not a freshman. Um, but yeah, I mean, he didn't make good decisions. I don't feel um I don't feel like A&M's going to go too far with him as their quarterback, but we'll see. I hope he improves. I really do. I mean, you you really like it'd be stupid to like start oh crap. 30 minutes remaining. Erica Duncan, I think. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Can I get there? I'm going the wrong way. That doesn't help. Um I don't want to root against anybody. I don't really care like what now I will root against coaches because I cannot stand Urban Meyer. Um, Another reason why I don't like or that's another reason why I don't like Ohio State. Paper bag. Um, I am a huge Florida Gators fan. Well, I used to be a huge Florida Gators fan. Not really much anymore. But when Urban Meyer backstabbed the Florida Gators and went to Ohio State, he disgusted me, to be honest. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I hope his career takes a dive. I'm sorry. And then the best thing that happened was when he tried to coach in the NFL and got fired what was it, his first season as a head coach. Oh man, that was just poetic justice. Like, how are you going to lie and say, "Oh, well, I'm taking time off because of my health." And then like not you take 1 year off and then go to another team. You're just a coward, in all honesty. If you're just going to backstab your players and your team, just say it. Hey, look, you know what? I don't want to coach for you anymore. Um and I'm going to another team because I'm a coward. So, those are my personal feelings about Urban Meyer. So when I like kids who are developing their skills and trying to become something, I will not I will not root against. I want if that is their dream to be football players, I want them to succeed. Um, but I would say that I want what's best for them as well, you know? And they need to do the things that are everything that's going to make them successful, including learning to manage their money. So that is my rant for this episode. But yeah, I enjoyed watching the game. I wouldn't say it was impressive by any means, but it was a good game. A&M won by 1, and the second turn was Notre Dame fumbled the field goal. And I feel sorry for that guy, but that's what caused them to lose. So I think the first game I watched this season, I was kind of not fully watching, was Michigan State versus Boston College, and that ended up in a overtime win. I think it was double overtime. And my first thought was, it's got to be really hard on those guys to fight so hard and end up losing like that. But you know what? You got to give it to them. They fought hard. They played hard. It was a hard loss, but you know, it is what it is. Somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to win. But yeah, I don't feel like and I will say that if Notre Dame keeps playing the way they're playing, I don't picture them being contenders for even the playoffs. In fact, I hear because now they are 0-2, they're pretty much done as far as that goes. Now, whether that's actually the case, let's see, because there have been a lot of upsets so far this year, and, you never know. Everything could turn around and change. Nothing's guaranteed, I guess you could say. I made quite a bit of money today. Buy a baseball. Am I gonna have to contend with thieves now if I buy this? Tools. Baseball bat. Ooh, use the bat to hit shoplifter and force them to drop the stolen items. To identify shoplifters, watch for customers displaying suspicious behavior. Well, that's probably gonna have to be it for this episode because I gotta get to work. I kind of enjoy talking about stuff while I'm playing, so I'll probably continue. It's more entertaining than me just running all over the place and just not really talking about anything. So that's what I'm going to do. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.